Hello, good afternoon. We're all together here because we are celebrating our parent at night for 2021 for Poinciana team in Turtle River, Montessori. So it is a busy night. We have a lot to share, and I hope that you enjoy it. So who are we? We're Miss Veronica, who's speaking right now. I am the integrated studies teacher, Spanish B, and also one of the advisories. Miss Emily is the math 7th grade, pre-algebra 8th grade, and science teacher. Mr. Matt, who is here, is the ELA teacher that co-teaches with me. He's also the art teacher plus the videography advisor. Miss Jackie is a Spanish A teacher, also advisory and the advisory coordinator, sorry. So, and then we have Miss Jill, who is not going to be with us this evening, but she is the band teacher. The objectives for the day are very clear. We're going to learn about what makes our program unique. And also we're going to meet our teachers and hear about the curriculum that each one of us implement. Well, how do we communicate? There's two ways, with you and with your child. With you, definitely, we have the weekly email with which is written by Miss Jackie, which is the communication coordinator as well. Then we have ThinkWave, of course. Then if you wanna be updated with all your child's homework and assignments, etc., the best way that you can be updated at all times is with Google Classroom. Each one of the teachers with each one of the subjects has one Google Classroom webpage. And then, of course, ThinkWave is always going to be there. With your child, we also have the Google Classroom, the emails, and ThinkWave. So we're going to dive directly in what makes our program unique. Why do our students thrive in our environment? Well, there's four main factors that make it such an effective program, which is that it is a small program that personalizes education. It's a one-on-one thing. We observe how our students are and we just deliver according to their needs. The second factor would be the social emotional support and that sense of being at home, being comfortable, being safe. The academic rigor that definitely drives throughout all the curriculum. We will go deeper into it later on. And then the work habits and ethics implemented throughout the curriculum as well. So we're first going to watch a video of one of our ex-students giving us his point of view on Turtle River.
Hi, I'm Arthur Frigo, and I'm graduating high school this year. I'm a senior in high school, but I attended Turtle River when I was 2 all the way through 8th grade. Looking back on Turtle River, my middle school years were probably the most important in spurring my development as a student and as a leader. It was because of the close-knit community at Turtle River that I really was allowed to forge lasting friendships with teachers, faculty members, and students alike. And it was because of this tight-knit community where everybody felt safe that I was able to become who I was. And who I am today would not be possible without Turtle River. And so I look back on them sometimes for guidance and other times for what it means to truly be who I am in a community where I'm accepted by my peers.
Beautiful. Let's go and move on to another student. This is one of our 7th graders that is giving us her insight on the benefits of being in a small community.
Another reason why I like the class being so small is because you knew all the kids in your class so well, and you weren't bullied at all, and no one was being bullied, and you were comfortable being yourself.
And then lastly, a parent given her point of view.
That is one of the main reasons that we have decided to keep our oldest at Turtle River for middle school. I love the way that she is finding out about herself in a safe, inviting environment. She's finding out about what she stands for, what she believes in, what she'll say yes to, what she'll say no to. And we feel very comfortable at Turtle River in having her really figure out who she is before we send her off into the crazy world. And
so as you can see, this opinion of a small community being the best environment for the development of our teenagers comes not only from all students, but also from curving students and parents that see the benefit of it. Okay, so one of the challenges of this year definitely has been the hybrid education. We have on a consistent basis in between 3 and 5 students that are at home, and then some of us that are here in person. So we're not gonna lie, it's been a challenge, but we got this, definitely. Why is it that we have it? What have we done so that we guarantee that our students are getting the best education possible from home? Where the first factor would be the logistics, a lot of organizational skills, and definitely we are learning a lot. As I said before, we're not gonna lie, this was a challenge for us too as teachers, but we adapt to each moment, and we're learning a lot of new skills. Technological support, definitely we have to say thank you 1,000 times to Ms. Bubbly every time there is a need for some technological support, like new microphones, whiteboard improvements, any kind of resources. We always have a support from Ms. Bubbly. So we have had to implement a lot of new technology in our classrooms. We're learning a great deal of new web pages, new apps, and just new tools to be able to combine that personal and virtual education. Of course, we are in constant observation of our virtual students. We have them there. We are all the time addressing them. We're all the time observing them so that if they need any kind of accommodation or need, we are there for them. Of course, creativity, we are creating new things all day, every day, and then adapting to the challenges with a very good disposition, because as I said, there's always something coming up every day new, and it's just a beautiful thing that we, all the teachers, have this easy disposition to just face the challenges and overcome them and thrive with them and learn, definitely. And we learn a great deal also from the students, because the students are they're tech savvies and they teach us a lot as well. You can see here a picture of how involved our virtual students are. Like, for example, in science class, where they were participating in, I really don't know what, but I think making slime. So they were definitely having fun from home, and they are very involved in class. They participate as much as the students that are in person. So we're going to move on to one of our essential parts of the program. Our advisory coordinator is Ms. Jackie, so I'm going to open the floor for her.
Hi everyone, my name is Jacqueline Dugan, and we've implemented the advisory program for I think about 3 years now. We're going on our 4th year, and we really see how unique this program is, the Poinciana Junior High, with this advisory program. It really makes us stand out. When you think about going back to being a middle school student, you may remember having a lot of maybe tiffs with other people, or maybe laughing an intense amount all the time, or maybe forgetting things because your hormones are going crazy. Essentially, they're in between these 2 different stages, the elementary stage and the high school stage, and they're being pulled, and it's almost like a bridge that they are going across. And so the advisory program is really built to support them through this transition. We guide them, we mentor them, and we advocate for them. And we are the liaison between the student, the teacher, and the parent. So we're there for them, and each child gets to choose their advisor for the year, which is nice. So we work to make it so that it's someone that they feel like they can bond with. And we do a lot of bonding in the beginning of the year. So we have a lot of fun with bonding activities, and then they choose their advisor. And then we get into some good topics through the year. We get to meet Mondays and Wednesdays, and we do that briefly. It's about 10-15 minutes, and we check in with them and just kind of hang out and check their grades, look at their agenda, and just see how they're doing. But on Friday is when we actually get to really get into some heavy, deep topics. Sometimes we split up, sometimes we stay together as a big group. And so far we've gone into respect, the emotional wheel and emotions, identifying emotions. We've learned a lot about growth mindset. We do that in the beginning of the year. Habits of mind, definitely. In the past, we've really studied the 4 agreements, that ancient Toltec wisdom. And we kind of organically decide as a team what we really need to focus on with these students at that time. So it's a great opportunity for Mr. Matt and Miss Veronica and I to sit down and, kind of get philosophical and think about our students and what would best serve them in that moment or for those next few weeks. The bedrock of the advisory program is the student portfolio that goes along with the personal learning plan and is presented at the student-led conference. So we guide them and help support them to put their student portfolio together. This year it's digital, which is great. And in their portfolio, they have all their glows and grows. So at their student-led conference, they get to actually showcase their work to their parents in front of the teachers, and they advocate for themselves. They take ownership, and it's a beautiful, beautiful culmination of, some hardworking months that they've dedicated themselves to. And at the end of the conference, they actually go over their personal learning plan with their parents, and we establish 3 goals together with them. And then this is actually already typed out and ready at the student-led conference. So they have 2 academic goals and 1 socio-emotional goal, and everyone agrees, and the student signs and the parent signs, and we work with them throughout the rest of the year, checking in with them on those particular goals. So it really fuses together beautifully, and has been one of my favorite parts about working here at Turtle River is being an advisor, especially with 8th graders that are going to be graduating. So you kind of, you make sure that their memory book stuff is set up and they have their graduation speeches written, and you help them with their speech. And with the 7th graders, they need some help, and guidance when it comes to coming from upper L, because it's a big transition with grades. It's a new thing coming into junior high. So being a 7th grade advisor is special, as well as being an 8th grade advisor.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Jackie. So one of the another part that is fundamental out of our program is the community meeting. This little thing that we do every day is getting together for about half an hour, depending on the day, but it's roughly half an hour. And this part of our program, what it does is that it builds the sense of family, it builds a sense of community. It has certain characteristics that are extremely good for the kids. First of all, it is student-led. It enhances as I said, the sense of community, and then it has several parts, and each day we do something different. What is constant is the sharing and acknowledgements. So everybody, every time they want to share something that is meaningful to them, or something that happened to them in that week, or for something that happened in the family, a birthday, anything that they want to bring about and share it with the community, they have the chance to do so. Then we always go through logistics. So we go always through the things that they need to have ready for that week. If there's an event, we will talk about it. If there's anything that we need to organize in terms of the team of Poinciana, sometimes we have different events, cultural events, or vacations coming up, or whatever it is that is important, we go over it. We also have once a week art appreciation. Beautiful, and it always students bring either a painting or a sculpture or a picture or a piece of music that they want to share with their colleagues, and then explain what's the connection between them and that piece of art. We also have brain yoga every day. It's a little exercise that it's a couple of exercises that we do that helps both hemispheres of the brain make electric connections. That way they will connect better, one hemisphere and the other, and it develops not only the logical intelligence, but also the social emotional intelligence of individuals that practices. So we do it every day. And then of course we have once a week current events. And they're set the way that every Thursday there's 2 current events from 2 students. They have to pick up a current news piece of news and express it to the rest of the group. And then of course advisory time, we just have this 10 to 15 minutes touchdown twice a week with the group. So this whole community meeting will give us this sense of community, of family being together. And we do many different things. Like for example, in Christmas or winter holidays, we share books. We have a brunch, and it's a fun time to share. Okay, we're gonna get into the subjects. The specials would be band, art with Mr. Matthew, videography with Mr. Matthew this year. Yearbook. This year it's really interesting because we have put the 8th graders in charge of it. So they are the ones that are carrying it, leading it, collecting all the material and the information is being coordinated by Ms. Bex, which is one of our students' moms, and is supervised by me. Then we have physical education with Ignite. Every cycle we have a different sport. And then we have study hall once a week with purpose. So this is the answer to our requirement, that a demand that the students were asking us. They needed a little time to just sit down and have the access to the teachers and be able to do some assignments and you know, always have the assistance of a teacher in case they needed help. Okay, so we're going to get into the integrated studies. However, I am going to already tell you that a lot of details that I'm going to explain that makes the integrated studies unique pertains also to the rest of the subjects. So it's probably going to be the one that takes the longest time, but many of the things that I'm going to describe here really and truly are part of the whole entire program: science, math, art, videography, etc. So in particular, the integrated studies integrates American history, civics, geography, and English language arts. It's a 2-year cycle, which means that the first year we study a part of history, and then the next year we will study the other part of history, American history, with civics implemented, and geography. What makes it unique? Definitely the two most remarkable elements that make it unique are the inquiry-based curriculum, which is based on big essential questions that are driving all the learning process of the unit and all the acknowledgement and all the wisdom that they gain out of all the material that we go through are based upon this big essential question. And we're going to see many examples of them. They are always questions that are conscious related to make our students think critically and deeply and help them become better citizens of the country and citizens of the world, and better human beings at the end of the day. The other aspect that makes us unique is definitely the hands-on project-based curriculum. We do not have a test at the end of the unit. We have a demonstration of understanding project. Actually, two. We have a personal component, and then we have a group component, and we will go a little deeper into it when we see the different details that go with each one of them. Of course, because we have age combination in each class, we have 7th and 8th graders together. There's always a level of modeling and leadership there when we combine ages, which is incredibly healthy in every possible human field, from academic to social to emotional. It is incredibly healthy to have different levels in one class. How do we accomplish this? Definitely because we have an individualized learning process. We respect each one of our students. We observe them, we help them, we support them with any need that they that we observe that they need. So we don't have just numbers, we have human beings there, and we observe them, each one of them, and pay attention to each one of their needs and their demands. Even when they don't even know they may have it, we will adapt to them. Definitely the conscious curriculum, which is implemented through the essential questions, as I said before. We do not have textbooks, which it is very convenient because it brings always different perspectives to the classroom, and the variety of resources will always open their horizons in a much broader way than just having always the same textbook. Not to mention that it's way more fun, and it keeps them way more engaged when they don't have a textbook. Of course, we always implement the authentic learning experiences. This year, due to the world situation with COVID, we haven't been able to go on field trips. However, in regular circumstances for each one of the units, we have a field trip related to the unit. In this case, we have been implemented virtual field trips or guest speakers that would Zoom with us and give us great insight on and knowledge on unit content. And then, of course, we always utilize primary sources from all sorts of texts to historical trunks. We normally we bring a historical trunk from a museum with primary sources that the students enjoy incredibly, just having in their hands real material from the time that they're going to study brings them another insight in history. Well, these are the components of a conscious curriculum, and this is why we are so special. As I mentioned before, the essential questions are going to be driving all the content and the knowledge and the wisdom, because as I said before, it's not only about information, it's just becoming better human beings through these essential questions and through being put in positions of having to question themselves certain social issues and social problems. We of course we differentiate with the different learning processes of each one of the students and different ways of learning of each student. The inquiry-based learning, of course, which is a Montessori requirement. Project-based learning, everything they do is project-based, hands-on. There's no test that they need to just study to go and vomit information. They need to process the information and do something with it, which is a very different approach from just answering multiple questions on a content. Of course, the key experiences, as we were talking about, and I forgot to say that we may start implementing nature-based outside field trips soon. Technology integration, of course, and in this virtual content, definitely we're nailing it. Habits of mind that we not only approach in class, but also in advisory, as Ms. Jackie said before. Comprehensive assessment, definitely, it's a constant process of receiving feedback, not only from the teacher, but also from themselves, and peer evaluation. So it's a self-evaluation constantly, and it's also peer evaluation. So we have these different layers of evaluating the student. First century skills, of course, and social emotional learning, a constant thing. In every unit, there's a big component of social emotional learning. They're always going to be put in the position of having to understand the people that we are studying from an emotional point of view. That will give them a much bigger insight on the learning process. And of course, mindfulness, that's another huge part of our curriculum. We always give the students a chance a day to, from 3 to 5 minutes, sit down and go within. And it's a beautiful part, definitely. And then the integration of all the different layers of learning in our curriculum. Examples of big essential questions, which is the backbone of our curriculum. For example, last unit that we studied was the westward expansion. The essential question that drove the whole entire unit was, does a belief in moral superiority ever justify an immoral act? How did they implement, or they demonstrated their understanding of all the knowledge that they had learned throughout the unit? 2 ways. The personal component would be a letter to the president claiming possible reparations to the Native Americans. And the president was asked in this letter what were the different reparations that needed to be done to the Native Americans. Students need to do a great deal of research on history and all the process of the westward expansion and what happened and the beliefs behind it. And definitely they needed to also research on current reparations already given so that they could have a good proposal to the president. I must say that this letter was sent to the president, and which means that every project that they do is an actual product that will be used for its objective. The common project in this case was a historical model United Nations, and they needed to write in groups a resolution with a proposal of a United Nations. Historically, it was obviously fictional, a historical United Nations that took place right before the Civil War. And the resolution was about a proposal from the different countries that took part in the development of this country, the United States, claiming land from the New World. And there were several countries involved, like England, France, the Netherlands, etc. And they all posted a proposal on claiming land on the New World. In the 70s and 80s, '70s and '80s, to put an example, the question was what environmental elements can lead humans to a path of corruption. They needed to write an article of opinion on corruption. This was incredibly good. They did a phenomenal job on researching the corruption event they wanted to study. They were to research on it throughout the whole entire unit and write an article of opinion that was from 3 to 5 pages long. So it was no joke. It was no joke. And this always these processes are long. They require first draft, second draft, third draft, a one-on-one with the teacher, peer evaluation, self-evaluation, so that the process is not from one day to another. It is a constant support process that will help them achieve the final goal with success, always. 50s and 60s, we made a musical. It was phenomenal and a lot of fun, by the way. And the essential question that drove the unit was, what is our present state of personal and citizens' rights? What is our individual and collective responsibility to exercise our rights to continue progress in an evolved society? This unit hit big on civil rights movements, so they could investigate on them, research on them, learn a great deal of information, and then implement it in their musical. There's many more. I just don't want to stop here telling you guys everything, but just for as a last example, in World War II, the question was, if World War I was the word to end all wars, why wasn't it? And the group component was a Nuremberg trial. Each one of the students personified one main character of the war, and they needed to go through a trial where they were to answer the question, did you work toward peace or war? And they were to be judged. It was incredible as well. Big, incredible research on each one of the characters, and they learned a great deal of history through that research. Here is an example too. You can see, oh, sorry. You can see the process of the outline. We will always do a very clear outline for the students where they will be guided through the process of writing their personal letter to the president. In this case, they always will have the big question there so that they don't lose point. They don't lose focus. In this case, should the president take action toward reparation to the Native Americans? Then they will have different guiding questions that will help them research information to accomplish their goal. And then, of course, we'll ask them introduction in full sentence, the evidence that supports each one of the research that they will do, or the answer that they will do, and then other questions, right? And of course the format. So there's a thorough supportive process to achieve their final goal, which in this case would be this, the letter to the president. This one is graded. Then we still added a few notations, and then they printed it out, they folded it, and they sent it to the president. It was quite good. There's many other examples. I'm not going to stop any more about this. If you want any more, just please contact me and I will send more examples of demonstration of understanding. How do we accomplish this? Immediate feedback. Of course, every time students do something, we give them straight feedback so that they will be able to improve their products. Peer evaluation and self-evaluation is a constant. There's an ample variety of activities and assignments, which means that they're always going to be motivated and they're always engaged and they're always involved in every activity, from the traditional paragraph, 5-paragraph essays, to video games, to role plays, to theater presentations, map drawings, all sorts of things, digital art, debates, oral speeches, all of it. We do put a lot of focus on research skills, definitely, because we do not have a textbook, so they will research a great deal of the information they will learn. Presentational skills are a huge one too, as audience as well as presenters. They will be doing presentations quite often, and you will see how they will not be scared or have a second thought on being put in the situation of having to present something quick. They will do it because they're used to it. Writing skills, of course, we focus, every unit, we focus on a different genre. Expository and persuasive essays, formal letters, United Nations resolutions, poetry writing, which is what we're doing right now. On the Civil War, they have to write a poem from the perspective of the Confederates. They have to write a poem from the perspective of the Unionists, and of course, with all a long process again, with many drafts and many writers' workshops where they're going to learn the literary devices, the sound devices. We give them plenty of different examples, from free rhyme to spoken word to traditional poetry, until they can choose what kind of poetry they're going to implement and write their own art. Reading skills, of course, we have book talks with their personal books, but we also have, in every unit, we have a novel that we go through in literary circles. And they will, at the end, also have a demonstration of understanding out of this novel that they have read. And it is incredible as well, because the literary circles give them this leadership and this independent capability of just taking the roles themselves and guiding the process by themselves. In terms of the integrated curriculum, these are elements that we implement constantly. Foundational knowledge with understanding and remembering the information and ideas. Thinking skills, of course, this is essential to be able to answer all the essential questions that we go through, and to achieve all the different assessments that are never flat. They're never just regurgitating information. They always make you think at all times, in every small assignment that they are given throughout the unit, but mostly for the final project. They do need to process and critically think every knowledge that they acquire. The integration and the connection of every single piece, not only amongst themselves, but also with current events and personal experiences. So that connection is throughout the board. Of course, the human dimension, learning about oneself and others. As I said, we always put connection between themselves, their feelings, their experiences, and what they're learning. Caring, definitely. Developing new feelings, interesting values. Our units are so packed with human values and consciousness. This is our goal, to tell you the truth. Help them become better human beings. And then learning how to learn. It is a constant learning of a process of self-observance and identifying what works for me and what does not work for me. This is a constant feedback that they will receive from themselves and from us and from peers. What is it that works for me? What is it that doesn't work for me in my learning process? These are, I'm going to go very fast on this. These are all the little parts to the integrated studies class. History lessons, daily quill, which is grammar and conventions, implemented every day. Daily vocabulary, daily. Every day there's a vocabulary activity. Geography, of course, not only from flat maps, but also from, for example, we did a battle recreation that needed to recreate the whole geography of a battle and then explain the strategies that were implemented in that battle according to the geography. So they needed to have an understanding of the landscape of the battle. Book talks once a week with their personal book. Novel studies, as I said, that reinforces the independent skills and the demonstration of understanding at the end. And then writers workshop every week. Many parts, you see. So there's an incredible level of rigor to our integrated studies class. I want to show you a video of a student speaking about this rigor.
The parents always ask me if my work is challenging enough. And yes, it is very challenging, but the teachers make it very fun and interesting, so it doesn't seem like a big deal.
Great. Actually, I do have another video, and I would you're going to allow me to put it because it is worth it. It came to me in the last moment, but it's incredibly worth it to watch. Let's see if I have it here. Oh, I don't know where I have it. Maybe I may not be able to put it. Well, that's okay. If I have time, I'll do it at the end. Sorry about that. Thanks for your patience.
The parents always ask.
Okay, so this is just other examples of individual components and group components. So I'm not going to stop here. We already spoke about this. I am going to go over a few examples of demonstration of understanding so that you can see the complexity of the final products that the kids can produce. So for example, in these pictures, you can see the Civil War battle recreation that I told you before. And some of them chose, like for example, Patrick chose to do a Minecraft video game. They enjoyed it incredibly. Other students, however, decided to do it in a physical format. But what was remarkable was at the end, how incredibly knowledgeable they were of the battle they researched. I don't think I know more than them at this point. With the details of each one of the battles, it was incredible. I'm going to show you another good example of demonstration of understanding with the historical HMUN. Hoping I will do it more efficient than before. Here you go. Remember that this was the historical HMUN where certain countries that had to do with the construction of this country wrote resolutions claiming possession of certain parts of the country. Okay, we said that it would be around 1860.
Thank you. The floor is open for debate. The chair calls upon the delegates for debate. I yield the floor to the delegate of France.
Miss Veronica, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm not getting a video on my end.
Wishes to speak against Great Britain's
Oh, okay. You're not getting the video?
No, it looks like it's stuck just on your parent ed night slideshow. It wasn't even the slide, it was the whole program. I just want to make sure that we get to see the actual video.
Okay, let me see if we can try again. Are you guys seeing it now?
Now it's working. Thank you, Miss Veronica.
Perfect. Thank you.
Because of how they treated the 13 colonies in the past. They increased taxes and control over the 13 colonies. They imposed several new taxes, beginning with the Sugar Act. All these taxes were imposed by the King and Parliament in Britain. We cannot have Britain ruling 13 colonies from a different country. These taxes violate what France believes in: liberty, equality, and fraternity. That they should be So that is why I, the delegate of France, urge the Assembly to vote against Great Britain's resolution. I yield the floor to the chair.
Thank you. Are there any further points on the floor? The debate is now closed. We will move into voting procedures. All points are out of order. The resolution will now be put to the vote. Please raise your placards with your vote.
So as you can see,
Virtual delegates at home, please raise your vote.
It's an
Thank you,
actual
Mr.
voting.
J-
They
Mr.
actually
Becker.
we did all this process, and it took quite a while, and it was beautiful, very complex.
Thank you, Mr. Ligon. Thank you.
So all these, I want to say all these events, let me stop sharing for a minute. All these events always take place with all the community, with all the Poinciana community invited. So the parents are always welcome to come. They're always welcome to be part and be guests in every group component of the demonstrations of understanding in each one of the units. And it's beautiful to see how students already prepare so that their parents will be able to be part of it and be able to see their work and the complexity of their work. It's a beautiful process. I want to make sure that I have, yes. Oh, there's one more thing that I wanted to show you though. It's one more thing that I wanted to show you. Not this, definitely. Hold on. Sorry about this. Here it is. Okay, this is another demonstration of understanding, or another mini project. It was on the interview to Abraham Lincoln, trying to debunk all the myths around the Gettysburg Address.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is an honor to have you here with us. It is a week after the Gettysburg Address, and lots of rumors have started to form. We would like to give you a chance to clear them all up.
Thank you for having me.
Starting up strong, we have our most frequently asked question. What was the Gettysburg Address was the Gettysburg Address written on the back of an envelope?
Definitely not. I took many weeks to write the speech, and I have several drafts on paper to prove it.
Good to know. Next rumor. Was the Gettysburg Address written on the train ride from DC to Gettysburg?
My drafts were written with steady penmanship. If I wrote them on the train, which tended to be bumpy in 1863, the drafts would have been shaky and uneven. What is true is that I didn't have my final draft done until I was in Gettysburg.
Okay, I'm not gonna put all the video, but as you can see, these students, when put in the position of having to do an oral presentation, they don't even doubt about it. They are excellent. Okay, back to the presentation. And I pretty much want to say that I am done, and I am going to let Miss Emily talk now.
All right, can you guys see that I shared my screen?
Oh, yes, let me stop sharing this one and you go ahead.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so I am Miss Emily, and I am the science and math teacher. So I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of what my classes are like and what the curriculum's like. So for science, we have a 2-year cycle that includes life science and earth and physical science. This year we're doing life science. Next year we will switch over to earth and physical science. So when your student starts in Poinciana to when they are done, they will get both of those courses. We do a lot of social and cultural context within our classes, especially this year with life science. We have a lot of debates that come up about ethics and animals and people. We focus on current society issues and how science relates to our personal identities and the local environment. We actually this year were chosen by the Everglades Foundation to be one of only 3 schools in Palm Beach County to pilot their Everglades Champions program, where the students are creating a civics project that they will implement within the community. And right now they're thinking they're going to do it on invasive and endangered species. I also added in there social emotional learning through nature and animal studies. So sometimes we go out and we sit in nature. My room is also a little bit of a zoo right now because we have lots of different animals, but there's a lot of research that shows that interacting with animals can be great for your emotional well-being and your social growth as well. So I have just a photo up here of us doing an aquifer activity with the online students. This photo down in the corner is from last year. We were making Rube Goldberg machines to test out forces in motion, and have a picture of our lovely pet turtle, Chipotle, here. So moving on to math. I teach 7th grade math and pre-algebra, which is the 8th grade math. Beyond the typical math course that your student would be taking in middle school, I focus in a cultural and social context. So often in math, I know that I definitely asked this when I was in middle school and through college, honestly, too, is why learn math? When am I going to use this? Well, not only do we actually practice things that students are going to use it for, like cost of living and financial things, we also look into how numbers are so powerful within our society and data literacy, how to read different data, which is especially important recently, all of the data and numbers that are thrown at us on the news, and how to create surveys and represent data that the students have collected themselves. So for each unit, we have a mathematical concept that we cover, but we also have a social context that we refer back to and do activities related to. So right now in class, we are focusing on poverty. We also do a lot of kinesthetic learning. So here I have a picture of some of the students working on dividing decimals by writing with shaving cream on our table. We also do things outdoors. I have a student here who we were finding natural ratios out in the schoolyard. So she was counting the palm fronds on that palm tree. And then I've also got an amazing digital comic made when we were doing our income inequality unit. A student made this. It's about Jeff Bezos. We calculated how much he makes per second, and the students were very surprised at just how much that is. And I included here just 2 curriculums that I use as reference. So Rethinking Mathematics, Teaching Social Justice by the Numbers, and the Teaching Tolerance site. So I am going to share really quick with you guys just one of the homeworks that we were doing that is focusing on our poverty context. We did a Flipgrid. So this is the prompt that students were given, and they were told to find a statistic about poverty that they found interesting and to go ahead and create one of their own.
What insane stat lives in your head rent-free?
I'm a data scientist, and I was curious about the diversity of Fortune 100 CEOs. There are 3 Hispanic men CEOs, 3 black men, 5 Asian men, 8 white women, 0 POC women, 8 white men named Michael, 7 white men named James, 7 white men named David. Look at my graph!
So that was a TikTok. You know, the kids love TikTok, so keeping it relevant and keeping them engaged in that way. So I'm just going to play one student response for you guys really quick.
Did you know, in 2018, 1 in 6 children under 18 lived in poverty?
That's nearly 11.9 million children, which is 1.5 times higher than rate for adults ages 18 to 64.
And that was about it for those examples. So we cover all of the Common Core mathematics standards, and we get through everything they need for their upper level algebra courses they'll be taking in high school, but we also address what's happening in the real world and how it relates to all these numbers. And I think that is all I have. So I will turn it over to Mr. Matt.
And Miss Veronica, if you want to share the screen, because I know you and Miss Jackie finish up and I just have the one slide, that'll be fine for me.
Okay.
Perfect. All right. Well, hello, I am Mr. Matthew. I do teach art. I also help teach a variety of junior high classes, such as elective classes. Right now, we are doing a videography class that actually made its way into videography. Last year, we were doing a communications course and then some journalism, and now it's sort of evolved into videography, which is currently evolving into more of a cinematography course right now. But as far as, and I also teach or assist co-teach with Miss Veronica ELA for the junior high. My page here is just kind of on how I incorporate art, not just through the art class, but also through the other subjects, which it's been a blessing that I'm actually able to be involved in the other subjects because we can incorporate that creative aspect into all of their subject works. As my slide says, we do a 2-year understanding of art, and it does focus on 2D and 3D form, but I also like to sidestep and make sure that they get a full understanding of art history. Why are we making this art? Who made it first? Why is it important? And then also the social and cultural context of art and its importance, and how that also relates to all of our studies and our integrated studies, our sciences and maths and everything else. So, we like to look at how art socially the social impact of art can change the world, how art can impact the individual, and how art can be used to connect deeper ideas and understandings through our courses. Almost every single showing of understanding actually incorporates a creative piece. Almost all of their products incorporate a creative piece. And like I said, I'm beyond blessed to be able to help out with that and to be involved in their ELA and their other elective courses. Some of our best artwork this past year with the challenges of virtual learning and COVID have actually been by students at home who have sort of branched into digital art and graphic design. And it's really been awesome to see them incorporate that. With the virtual students as well, I also do make all my materials that are available here in class. I make sure they are available for those to come pick up and take home or get home somehow. And that's basically all I have for you on art. So I will turn it over to Miss Veronica and Miss Jackie.
Yes. All right.
So another thing that is unique about our program is how we teach Spanish. We have 2 separate groups. Miss Veronica teaches the more advanced group, and I teach the not as advanced group. And we meet throughout the week. But the highlight is really on Fridays when we get to meet together as one big group, and we have our Spanish cultural class. This is a time where we have a big block of time to really dig into some projects, and they're using the language to create projects and to present different projects. In the past, we've actually been able to go off campus. That was why this block of time was created, and get to various maybe markets or restaurants or El Sol, the center for Spanish-speaking Hispanics around here in Jupiter. But this year's been a little different, so we've put our minds together and really had fun doing some great projects. So far we've done music from the Spanish-speaking world, where students have studied various genres, and it did culminate in a karaoke presentation as well. When they give their presentations, the presentations are in Spanish, and they're using the Spanish, and it's really great. We have also, had a wonderful Dia de los Muertos celebration, and we've had them study Christmas and New Year traditions of the Spanish-speaking world, again, culminating in a really big project where they are physically making things, they're cooking, they're showing us dances, they are teaching us new vocabulary with their own unique lessons. So they have a lot of freedom, and they have a lot of fun on Fridays with the language. So we look forward to that. In the future, we're going to be doing a fashion show, a runway fashion show with La Ropa, our clothing vocabulary, and also learning about comida, healthy foods in the Hispanic world. And they're going to be cooking and doing recipes using the command forms.
Great. Thank you so much, Ms. Jackie. What I'm going to do now, because we are fortunate enough to have here, Ms. Trisha Frigo, which is part of our community. She is our entrepreneur coordinator. But besides that, she happens to be the mother of 4 students, right? that have been in our community. One of them being in my class right now. And I want to ask her to give her insight as a parent.
Thanks for having me. My name is Trisha, and I have 4 sons. My 2 oldest sons have graduated out of the Poinciana classroom. One is a senior in high school, and one is a sophomore in high school. And as Miss Veronica said, my 3rd son is in 8th grade. And then I have a 4th son here in 5th grade as well. But the reason I've kept my boys at this school is for all the reasons that all these great teachers spoke about, because of the rigorous curriculum that teaches the kids how to think both critically and creatively and challenges them and stretches their thinking beyond what they're even capable of doing. And so it's the rigorous curriculum combined with the social emotional component that helps them become who they are in this safe environment with these grown-ups and teachers who really care about them through the advisory program and just through the small classroom sizes. The teachers have really strong relationships with the kids, and this sort of safe environment really solidifies their sense of self before they leave Turtle River, so that when they do and they go on to high school, they're really confident and know who they are as young people. They're ready to stand up for themselves and for what they believe in and make good choices for themselves. So I've seen it with my two older boys. I couldn't be more proud, and I really attribute their strong foundation to what they got at Turtle River, especially in the crazy, crazy middle school years. But you know, we all know that it takes a village to raise kids these days, and I just couldn't be more proud of the team here. And I feel so safe and comfortable having my kids in their hands. They're all wonderful people, great teachers, and both the curriculum and that social emotional component is why I continue to keep my boys here. So thank you for all you do and for guiding our children so well. So thanks.
Thank you so much, Ms. Tricia. Well, so here ends our presentation. Anything else that we want to add? Are we all complete? Okay, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed it and that you got a good vision of what we are doing here in Poinciana. Thank you very much to all of you. Have a good evening.